the Flash himself, Grant Gustin, after the show's been done for a little bit, is now finally being honest a little bit in regards to some of the things that he wished was different. He's currently right now in Liverpool at a Comic-Con event, and he was quoted as saying that he didn't like the Forces storyline in The Flash Season 7, calling the Forces my children. I tried to talk them out of that. Of course, it didn't happen. He later on added, he said that he didn't like the Godspeed lightsaber style fight at the end of Season 7, which, as you can see pictured here. He was not a fan of that, saying, I was like, we can do this now? Really? And this is actually being pulled from Flashverse, who's actually there right now, and there's a photo there of Grant there at the actual con itself. And he reveals he wasn't the biggest fan of the Speedster lightsaber fight scene with Godspeed and Thawne 718, and he tried to get it changed into an actual Speedster fight, but creative refused. Not being specific on who refused, but I'm assuming it's probably Eric Wallace, who was running the show at the time. But I understand the point of trying to make the fight a little bit, like something a little bit different, because we've gotten a lot of Speedster fights throughout the run of The Flash. Of course, we got more Speedster fights after, Season 7, and of course this fight. But they were trying to do something different. And I think this was pulled from the comics, in terms of these light, like lightning saber battles. But it's interesting that Grant is being like more honest here about the show, because he has said, he has said in the past that there's been some things, he wasn't really a fan of, or he wished was different or better. But this, I think, might be one of the first times he's at least being honest about certain specific things that he wish was different. And I think it's because the show's over, and there's been some time since then, and nothing can really be changed now, and nothing can really happen in terms of like a season, 10 or whatever, because they got 9 seasons. But and then also Grant hasn't done a lot of Comic-Con. He hasn't done a lot of like panels and stuff like this since then, and even during that time, of course, he really wasn't doing hardly anything in terms of like actual events like this. But it's good to see him being a little bit honest, because we as fans, we have been very critical about certain things in the Flash and in the Arrowverse as a whole. So to hear the star himself reveal, hey, I tried to talk about, hey, maybe we could do something a little bit different. Like, obviously he can't make those decisions. He's the lead, but he's not creative, like, running the show. But he at least was trying to fight for like, hey, could we actually do like an actual Speedster fight, because it's Godspeed, and it'd be interesting for me to work with your Reverse Flash, which he ultimately does in that fight. But to work with him in a Speedster sense to fight Godspeed in a traditional Speedster fight, but they wanted to go this route of something a little bit different. So it is what it is. But I just find it fascinating that Grant's just being a little more honest than we were used to seeing from him. But then again, the show is now done. I think the panel's actually still going on right now, so I think there's even been more stuff been talked about. Like, I know Grant was asked about Supergirl and the Flash, like who won the race. I don't know. There's no real answer to that. I guess I did. Yeah, because we never really got to find out who actually won that race. And then they were asked about Tom Cavanaugh and his and Daniel's favorite episode of The Flash, and so I guess it was Enter Flash Time, which was a really good episode. That was a really good episode of The Flash, so pretty good that was actually picked. And this was like a couple minutes before I actually started recording. Tom Cavanaugh, when finding out Stephen Amell's favorite crossover was when he got to play The Flash. Funny, he got to play a superhero. Also, I didn't know that Stephen Amell's favorite crossover was Elseworlds. I guess it makes sense, since Stephen could play another character in a sense, but he's not. He's still playing himself, but he's wearing a different suit. But yeah, that's interesting. Let's actually refresh to see if anything else has been said at the panel here. Yeah, Flashverse. I noticed you're following me on Twitter. Actually, I'll follow you back. Sorry, brother. Didn't realize you were following me. There you go. Yeah, nothing else has been said since then. But yeah, so it's interesting. Wait. Did we find out who else is here? Oh, so yeah, Daniel is there, and I think that's I forget her name. But yeah, so we're Flashverse did ask Grant about if there's any script changes to the Flash finale, and we knew there were. We knew there were script changes, and so that we figured as much. And at least Grant's confirming officially, even though I think it's been confirmed before, that he was supposed to be in the negative Speed Force scene. Oh no, wait. Oh, the finale. No, okay. No. There was supposed to be a scene with him and the other, like, speedsters. But I guess he's saying in the negative Speed Force scene, him as Pizza Face Avatar. Daniel would remember it better than I have. I was supposed to be in the scene that had all of them, and it was in the armor. That was a very different scene, and I was supposed to be in it as that pizza face version of Savitar in the makeup, and it got much shorter. Yeah, so we obviously saw Savitar, but we were supposed to see actual Grant, but then due to, like the COVID and everything, the kind of and I think he actually got COVID during the finale. Like, that's why things were kind of changed around in terms of the filming. So yeah, interesting. We're getting a lot of information here. We're at least getting some confirmation and new stuff. Ooh, Grant Gustin, and who you like to see play the Flash, and James Gunn DC. Jokingly, I'm not giving them any good casting ideas. Personally, I don't think there's anyone better to play the character. Yeah, so that's Flash versus like additional little quote, but he's saying I'm not going to give them any good casting ideas. So he's not going to I'm not going to say who should. And honestly, I don't know who could play the Barry Allen, and I'm pretty sure whenever they get to the route of doing the Flash, it's going to be probably Wally West and not Barry, just because we need to put Barry to rest for a little bit. Let's put the character to rest for a little bit, in my opinion. But yeah, so overall, this video originally was just be talking about just those specific things from discussing film, but we got some more information there from Flash first. But yeah, so Grant's being a little honest and having a discussion about things, so it's good to see that, at least being honest, and he can just be kind of more open about what kind of went down. Obviously, he can't go too far into it, or else, potentially losing a job, because, if you're going to talk crap about a project you worked on, like really going like a deep dive into like how you hated a lot of stuff, which he's not doing, it could potentially ruin a potential opportunity down the road for him. So we don't want that to happen. So anyways, guys, what do you guys think of Grant's comments about specifically, the season 7 kind of criticisms he was kind of saying about calling the forces my children? He was trying to talk them out of doing that, and the Godspeed lightsaber file. Like, what are your thoughts on him being honest about this and all that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.